prayers, Mangalacharan prayers. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमां विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरतिसे नमः। पंचतत्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you so much for joining. Very grateful that Mukta Sangha Prabhu and especially the devotees of ISKCON Ben Salem have given me this opportunity to speak on Gaur Katha from Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, and because of that, somehow or the other, I feel engaged in this service. So we'll get started. Last Saturday, we started chapter 4 of the Adi Khanda of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. And today we will continue. This is the session number 12 of our discussion on Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. Ananda Leela Maya Vigrahaya Hema Bhadivya Chavi Sundaraya Tasmai Mahaprema Rasa Pradaya Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Shri Chaitanya Chandraya Namo Namaste. Hare Krishna. So, verse number 3 of chapter 4 of the Adi Khanda of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. हे नमते प्रकाश हैला गौर चंद्र शचि गृहे दिने दिने बड़ा ये आनंद So we discussed the birth, the divine birth appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He appeared in the womb of Srimati Shachi Mata. And we discussed how there was such intense prayers. There were such intense prayers by the devotees requesting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to appear. So the devotees were praying, the demigods, the devatas, they came and they offered prayers, Garbha Stuti, while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was still in the womb of Mother Shachi. They came and they offered prayers. And now Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared. His horoscope has been made. And so many wonderful pastimes will take place now. And we will read. So, Hena Mate Prakasha Haila Gaura Chandra. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in this world. Prakasha Haila means he appeared in this world. And today is a very special day. Why? Because today is the Adivas ceremony before the appearance of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Today is March 27th, 2021. And tomorrow, on the 28th of March 2021, it is the divine appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It is Sri Gaura Purnima Tithi tomorrow. So today is a very, very special day. And here we are reading in this way, Gaura Chandra. Gaura Chandra, because he is more effulgent than millions of moons, and he appeared on the night of full moon, Falguni Purnima. And he appeared Shachi Grihe, in the house of Shachi Mata. And Dine Dine Badaya Ananda. Day by day, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu increased the joy of Shachi Mata and all the other devotees in Navadvip. Verse number 4. Putrera Shri Mukha Dekhi Brahmani Brahmana Ananda Sagare Dohe Bhase Anukshana. So here, Putrera Shri Mukha Dekhi. Whenever Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's beautiful moon-like face was beheld by Shachimata, Brahmani, and Jagannath Mishra, Brahman, Ananda Sagar Dohe Bhase Anukshana. They would be floating in an ocean of bliss just by beholding the beautiful moon-like face of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, their darling child. भाई रे देखिया विश्व रूप भगवान हासिया करे न कोहे हासिया करे न कोले आनंदे धाम. And we discussed how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had an elder brother also, Vishwarup. And whenever Vishwarup would see his younger brother, Nimai, with a smile on his face, he would take Nimai, his little baby brother, on his lap and play with him, love on him. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we see how the Supreme Personality of Godhead is full of all opulences. Wealth, when Mahaprabhu appeared, all the devatas came and they gave so many gifts, precious jewels, necklaces, rings, ornaments, gold coins. They gave in charity to Jagannath Mishra and Shachi Mata. And they did not know where all this wealth is coming from. Who are these generous people who are coming and giving this nice donation? But it is natural that when Lakshmipati, Lord Gauranga Mahaprabhu, Sri Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the eternal Lord and Master of Goddess of Fortune, Lakshmi Devi. So it is but natural that when he appears, all fortune is there in that place. Therefore, the gopis also in the first verse of the Gopi Geet, they have sung Jayati te adhikam janamana vraja Shrayata indira shashvadatrahi Daita drisyatam dikshutavakas त्वयि धृता शवास्त्वां विचिनवते जयति ते अधिकम janmana vraja. This vraja, this vraja bhumi, this holy abode of Shri Vrindavan Dham, adhikam, has become greatly fortunate since and opulent since janmana vraja, since you have appeared, you have taken janma, my dear Krishna. You appeared in Vrindavan, and Vrindavan has become a very, very opulent, very blessed place. Why? Jayati te adhikam janmana vraja shrayat indira shashwadatrahi. Shashwadatrahi. Eternally she is living here. Who? Indira. Indira is a name of Lakshmi Devi. The goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi, is permanently staying here in the holy abode of Vrindavan because Janma, Janmana Vraja, because you took birth in Vrindavan. So similarly, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna, he appears in Navadvip. Navadvip also is completely non-different from Sri Vrindavan Dham. Completely non-different from Sri Vrindavan Dham. There is a very nice story, a very nice loving exchange between Srila Jayapatak Swami Maharaj and Sripada Indra Prabhu. Indra Prabhu had taken a vrat that I will never leave Vrindavan. He came from America. I think he was born in Baltimore, I believe, Indra Prabhu. So he was born and raised in Baltimore, and then for some time he served in the Shri Shri Radha Govinda Mandir in Brooklyn, New York. And from there, I think in the year 1984, Sripada Indra Prabhu, he felt the inspiration that I must go to Navadvip Dham and Vrindavan Dham. So he went to Sri Navadvip Dham, then he came to Sri Vrindavan Dham, and there he had inspiration that I should never leave Vrindavan. If I want to attain the lotus feet of Sri Sri Radha Shyam Sundar, if I want to go back home, back to Godhead, staying in Vrindavan Dham, staying in a holy place, is one of the very important limbs. There is Panchanga Bhakti. There are 5 powerful limbs of devotional service that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has described in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. One is Sadhu Sangha, associating with devotees and serving the devotees. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathuravasa, Shri Murtira, Shraddhaya Sevana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has spoken these immortal words in the pages of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravana, Mathuravasa, Shri Murtira, Shraddhaya Sevana. These 5 limbs of bhakti are extremely powerful. Panchanga Bhakti they are called. Pancha means 5, Anga means limbs. Panchanga Bhakti. These 5 limbs are very powerful, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says. So Sadhu Sangha, associating with devotees, Nama Kirtan, chanting the holy name of Krishna, both individually in japa and also loudly in Kirtan, either alone or in the association of devotees. And number 3 is Bhagavat Shravana, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from the lips of pure devotees. So when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, as it has been published by the Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, BBT, it is Bhagavat Shravana. Why? Because we are hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from the lotus lips of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada dictated the translation and purports to Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, we are associating not only with Srimad Bhagavatam, but we are associating with Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada's purports are based on the commentaries of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Srila Sridhar Swami, Jiva Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, all these great acharyas. So when we are reading Srila Prabhupada's purports, when we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam, we are hearing from Srila Prabhupada as well as from all these acharyas. So just reading Srila Prabhupada's books, just reading Srimad Bhagavatam as Srila Prabhupada has given us is a very, very powerful process. So those of you who have Srimad Bhagavatam at home, and those of you who are reading Srimad Bhagavatam regularly and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada and our Gurugan are most fortunate. See, hearing Harikatha from me will not give any benefit to all of you. This is a fact. I will not lie. This is a fact. But when we hear from pure devotees, from Srila Prabhupada, from our Gurugan, it goes in the heart. It penetrates our heart. When we hear their words, we get newer and newer realizations. That is because their Vani, their words are pure. So we must make it a practice to hear from pure devotees, Srimad Bhagavatam. So, Sadhu Sangha Nama Kirtan Bhagavat Shravana Mathura Vas, staying in holy place like Shri Vrindavan Dham. Mathura Mandal includes the whole Vraj Mandal, Mathura or Navadvip or Jagannath Puri, any holy place. And last is Shri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevana, with faith worshipping the deity of Krishna. All of us who are listening to this Harikatha on the eve of Gaur Purnima, on the eve of the appearance day of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, must introspect today, now. We must introspect and we must try and figure out how we can execute these 5 limbs of bhakti that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given us through Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. How all of us can practice these 5 limbs every single day of our life. What are the 5 limbs? Associating with devotees, serving the devotees, chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from pure devotee, then living in a holy place like Vrindavan Dham, and number 5 is with faith serving the deity form of Krishna. So Krishna has many incarnations. He has got Purusha avatar, where he's Karanodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. He has got Manvantar avatars, where he comes in every age of Manu. He has got Yuga avatars, where he comes in every age, Kali Yuga, Satya Yuga, Trita Yuga, Dwapar Yuga. In every Yuga he comes. Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. So there is Yuga avatar. Then there are Leela avatars. Like that, there are many incarnations of Krishna. And there is also Krishna's incarnation in the form of his holy name. Kali Kale Nama Rupe Krishna avatar. So there is the name incarnation of Krishna. And there is also Shri Vigraha incarnation of Krishna. So Shri means transcendental or very auspicious. And Vigraha, V means Vishesha Rupena, in a special way. And Graha means Grahan Karma, to accept. So Shri Vigraha means a transcendental form of Krishna that Krishna has accepted. So a Murti is just a statue made of metal or wood or stone. But when a pure devotee prays for the Lord to come and manifest in that form, Prana Pratisthapana, then Krishna accepts the request of a pure devotee and enters that statue. And then that statue becomes Shri Vigraha, becomes Shri Murti. So Shraddhaya Shri Murti Sevana, with faith serving the deity of Krishna. That is very important. And this is called a deity incarnation of Krishna. Shri Vigraha. Shri Vigraha Aradhana Nityanana Shringaratan Mandira Marjanada Yuktasya Bhaktam Shaniyunjatopi Vande Guru Shri Charanaravindam. Whenever we do deity worship, whether at home or in the temple, we must always meditate upon the spiritual master, our Diksha Guru, who is also our Shiksha Guru. Our Diksha Guru is our main Shiksha Guru, along with Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada is the preeminent Shiksha Guru for all of us. And our Diksha Guru also is a preeminent Shiksha Guru for us, as well as Diksha Guru. So we must meditate on our Diksha Guru, our initiating spiritual master, and offer gratitude and respect and honor to our spiritual master for engaging us in the service of Sri Vigraha, a very special form of Krishna, deity. Shri Vigraha Aradhana. Aradhana means to worship. Like Srimati Radharani is the best worshipper of Krishna. Shri Vigraha Aradhana Nityanana Shringara Tanmandir Marjanada. Decorating the deity, worshipping the deity, cleaning the temple. Yuktasya Bhaktams. We are being engaged by our spiritual master in these services. So, performing deity worship at home or in the temple, if we are fortunate enough, is a direct service we are doing for our spiritual master. So we can intensely remember our spiritual master when we are doing deity worship, because deity worship is a direct service that we have been given by spiritual master. Because if the spiritual master would not have initiated us, would not have given us the Gayatri mantras, then we would not have the qualification to serve the deity. So deity worship is a service that the spiritual master has personally given us. It is our personal connection with the spiritual master. Just like chanting Hare Krishna is also a personal connection with our parampara. So these are the 5 limbs of bhakti and we must practice them. So how we can do it? Sadhu Sangha. How can we associate with a pure devotee? We can associate with a pure devotee by having a photograph of Srila Prabhupada, of different Shiksha Gurus that we have in our life, and standing before them and offering our prayers. We may not be able to physically associate with them, but they can manifest to us in the form of their photograph. So we must have the photographs of our spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and our Shiksha Gurus, and other great pure devotees who are there in our life, in our home, and we should stand before them every day. In fact, great devotees, I have heard this from pure devotees, from very, very great devotees. I have heard this. Please listen carefully. If we simply do one thing, then we will not be afflicted by Maya. Before we leave the house, if we just stand and take the name of 5 pure devotees, just if you say, Srila Gurudev ki jai, we take the name of our spiritual master. His Divine Grace, Abhay Charanaaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur Mahashaya ki jai. Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Just if we do this before leaving the house, we will never fall prey to Maya. Such a simple thing. At home, we are more Krishna conscious, because at home we have deities, we have our family members who are devotees, we have our chanting to do, we have got so many books in the house, we hear so many satsangs from home. So at home, generally we are well situated. Problem happens when we go to office, we go out, we may be tempted by Maya. So the simple thing, if we do, we remember and we chant the name of 5 pure devotees before, as we exit the door of our house, we will be protected. In fact, I have heard from great souls that if we do this, we will not be afflicted by untimely accidents or some calamity also when we go out of the house. It's a very simple thing. We should just remember great souls. In this way, we can do Sadhu Sangha. We can do Sadhu Sangha on YouTube. Every day we can watch a lecture of a pure devotee on YouTube and listen. We can get Sadhu Sangha through ISKCON Desire Tree, which is a website. It's ISKCON Desire Tree. There are so many audio lectures, audio files of lectures. In this way, we can have Sadhu Sangha. Sadhu is a very deep word. Sadhu means someone who is completely free from envy, someone who never wastes time, someone who is completely devoted to Krishna, someone who has no enemies. Is a sadhu. So Mahaprabhu is saying we must do Sadhu Sangha every day. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koe, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. We can attain all perfection by associating with pure devotees. So please, my dear friends, at home we should make it a practice every day. At least for 15-20 minutes, we must hear and take darshan of a pure devotee. That's Sadhu Sangha. Number two, Nama Kirtan. We must chant our japa intensely. In fact, tomorrow is Gaur Purnima. So let us retire early tonight so we can wake up early in the morning. Those of y'all who joined the morning japa class, actually, japa session on the Zoom, I forgot to mention this morning. But tomorrow we will start 1 hour early. Instead of 4:30, we'll start at 3:30 a.m. Tomorrow, 3:30 a.m. Those of you who can, because tomorrow is Gaur Purnima and we want to chant extra rounds. So we must do our chanting very attentively, very exclusively, with great attention, with great absorption. Srila Prabhupada said, chanting our rounds in the morning is 99% of our spiritual progress. 99% of our spiritual progress depends on how we chant the holy name. So we should organize our day in such a way that we are fresh, we are not sleepy, we are enthusiastic, attentive during the morning program. Please, my dear friends, I always repeat this, but this principle cannot be overemphasized. Those of you who are practicing this principle will make spiritual advancement by leaps and bounds. When Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON, think about it. Today, Srila Prabhupada has come, and Srila Prabhupada is the owner of this house from where we are speaking. So, when Srila Prabhupada established ISKCON, in 11 short years, Srila Prabhupada, whose first language was not English, those of you who have heard, all of us have heard Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada had such a thick Bengali Indian accent. Even I sometimes feel some difficulty in understanding Srila Prabhupada's English. And therefore I take help of subtitles in his lectures. So, because Prabhupada had such a thick accent, just imagine, in 1960s, there were no Indians in America. Indians started coming to the United States of America mainly in the 80s and 90s because of so many software jobs and educational opportunities. But in the 1960s, that was not the trend. In fact, my spiritual master, Srila Radhanath Swami Maharaj, he says that the first Indian, he spent the first 19 years of his life in USA. He's especially in Chicago, which is quite a cosmopolitan city. And Srila Guru Maharaj was saying, the first Indian I saw in my life was when I crossed the border and came to India. He never saw an Indian in America in those days, in the 1960s. And Srila Prabhupada came here in 1965. There were no Indian stores. There was no Patel Brothers. There were no H-1B visa holders. There were no IT professionals. There were no Patels in America. And no Hyderabadis in America. So imagine coming to a foreign country where nobody understands your culture, nobody understands your accent, nobody knows you. In fact, one reporter told Srila Prabhupada that before I saw you, Swamiji, I thought India is just a place where people are dying of poverty and there are snake charmers who are making snakes dance. That's all I had heard about India. And yes, one more thing, Swamiji, that some yogis are lying on a bed of nails in India. That's all they had heard of India, that people are dying of starvation, yogis are lying on a bed of nails, and there are snake charmers. In fact, if you read the book Ocean of Mercy by Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj, very, very beautiful book. You will read that one of the turning points in the life of Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj was when he was pursuing his higher education in Germany. He had an argument with a friend in the university who was challenging Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj that you come from a very undeveloped, very poor culture, very poor country and very poor culture. You people are not advanced in India. That's why you come to the Western countries like Germany and England and USA to learn. Because you come from a very backward culture. And Srila Bhakti Charu Swami Maharaj really felt deeply hurt because he came from a very cultured Bengali family. So he knew that this is not true. This is not true. So he came to India. He came back to India to find a guru so that he could learn the essence of Indian cultural heritage. So imagine Srila Prabhupada comes in 1965 and he sees that people don't understand his accent, they don't respect him, they don't respect the culture that he represents, they don't respect the country that he represents. That country, India, had just gotten independence, just a couple, less than a couple decades ago. So why will they respect? Why will they have respect for such a country? Respect is given to countries that can conquer, countries that have very powerful military, countries that are invincible, countries that have a lot of political clout in the international politics. Such countries are respected. Why would someone respect India in the 1960s? So here is Srila Prabhupada. Not that Srila Prabhupada was very young and energetic and very muscular, or he had a Nobel Prize, or he had some uh, Harvard education to back him. He simply comes as a 70-year-old man. And among the youth in those days, it was a common understanding that we should not trust or listen to anyone who is more than 30 years old because they are senile. They are out of touch with the times. They would not listen. They would not give any importance to the older people. And here is Srila Prabhupada, 70 years old, thick Indian Bengali accent. He has no money. He has no educational background to impress the Americans. Not that he was invited to make a presentation in the MIT or Stanford University. Nothing like that. He just came on a cargo ship. He had no invitation. He had no friends. He had no money. And in 11 short years, this 70-year-old Mahabhagwat from Seva Kunj of Vrindavan, who was completely self-realized, he comes and he establishes 108 temples all over the world. He initiates thousands and thousands of devotees. And those devotees are not like us, where I will have my job, I will live in my nice big house, nice cars, comfortable life, I will do what I want. And yes, I will take initiation also. I am a very insincere devotee, but those devotees were not like that. Srila Prabhupada's disciples were not like that. They gave up everything. They gave up their families, their homes, their money, their um, education, their jobs in the peak of their youth, where they could have enjoyed so much. American economy was booming. It was the post-recession phase where the economy had recovered and it was booming. It was, everything was so free in the American society. Education was cheap, housing was cheap, gas was cheap, cars were cheap. People were having great time. People were becoming hippies because they just wanted to enjoy and rebel because life was too comfortable. Yes, this is a fact. You don't see people becoming hippies in the impoverished countries, in, for example, Africa or Asia, from where we come from or I come from. No. People think of going skydiving or bungee jumping, or even for that matter, becoming hippies and doing drugs on the street and having free sex and enjoying when life is comfortable. Hare Krishna, this is a fact. If you're dying of poverty, you don't have food on your plate, and you're dying of malaria and so many things, you will not think of becoming a hippie. You will get down on your knees and work to earn your next bread. But because American society was so prosperous, it still is very prosperous. These people were very comfortable and they were rejecting their parents, they were rejecting their wealth and becoming hippies. I just want to try it out. I want to find myself. People take breaks in America. After their high school, they take like a year or two, or after their college, they take a year or two break. I know so many of my doctor colleagues, after their pre-med, after their 4 years of college, They took a break for 2 years to travel around the country. They save up and they travel around not the country, sorry, they travel around the world. They go to South America, they go to Africa, they go to India, they go to Europe, and they just see the world. So they can become more broad minded, more well informed, and more mature. And then they come back and they are preferred in the medical schools when they apply, because the universities are looking for kids who are well rounded, who are broad minded, and who have some experience in this world. So people take breaks. How can they afford to take a break for a year or 2 years just to find themselves? Why? Because life is very comfortable in the Western world. This is a fact. Life is comfortable. Those of you who are Americans and you have never been out of America, you may not agree with me, but I'm telling you, because I come from another country, life is very comfortable here in America. Life is very comfortable. And these Prabhupada disciples gave up this comfortable life to sleep on the floors, to take a cold water shower, to give up their luxurious clothes, comfortable clothes, and wear dhoti and kurta and sari, and follow the four austere regulative principles: no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. Now imagine in the 1960s, you're telling someone, don't eat meat. Now there is a vegan movement in the Western world. It's considered cool to be a vegan. You go to Whole Foods and you will see a vegan section. Even I wanted to order some shoes and belt and wallet for myself. I just went on Amazon and I typed vegan wallet, vegan belt, vegan shoes, and they showed up and I bought them. They have no leather, no animal products. So veganism is the in thing now. But back in 1960s, even that probably the term didn't exist, vegan. Uh, Being vegetarian was not a acceptable thing. In fact, um, my spiritual master was telling me that when he told his father as a small child, because he never wanted to eat meat from his childhood, so he told his father that I want to be a vegetarian. The immediate response was, Richard, you will die. How will you get protein if you don't eat meat? That was the thought process in the 70s, 60s, and 70s and 50s. And here is Srila Prabhupada, and he's making these young Americans who have the ultimate sense gratification at their disposal give up sense gratification, give up meat, give up intoxication. Imagine. It is so hard for me to get my patients to quit smoking. I have one patient, he has a disease called as Berger's disease. Berger apostrophe S, Berger's disease. You can look it up. It's a disease where because of smoking, your arteries become small and they close off. And he was addicted to smoking. So one day he came with a gangrene in one foot because of peripheral arterial disease. His arteries in the leg closed off. So he had to get an amputation. So now he has only one leg. One leg is gone. I told him, you have to quit smoking. This is a true story when I was a resident. He said, Doc, I cannot quit smoking. He continued smoking. Few months later, he lost the other leg. Now he's a double amputee, but he could not give up smoking. Then he got Berger's disease in his hand and he lost one hand. He got gangrene. He continued smoking. Even the nicotine patch, nicotine gum, Chantix, nothing worked. He just couldn't quit. Then finally, he got gangrene in his right hand. And then that also had to be amputated. And I saw him smoking like this with the stubs of his forearm, like that. Couldn't give up. Of course, this is an extreme example. But just today, I saw a patient with massive lung cancer and recurrent fluid building up in that lung and the lung completely collapsing. So much so that we removed the fluid many times. Today we had to put a catheter. And he has lung cancer for the last 2-3 months and he still smokes. He has smoked for 50 years. It's very hard to quit. And here is Srila Prabhupada. He gets all these American boys and girls to quit smoking, quit alcohol, quit drugs, become brahmacharis, sannyasis, take vows of celibacy. It is incredible. How did Srila Prabhupada do this? Number one is Srila Prabhupada's own purity and his empowerment that he had, Krishna's empowerment. Kalikale Yuga Dharma Krishna Sankirtan, Krishna Shakti Bina Nahi Tara Pravartan. Sripad Vallabhacharya said this about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tara Pravartan. Anyone who is propagating the Hare Krishna Sankirtan movement, Kalikale Yuga Dharma Krishna Sankirtan, Krishna Shakti Vina Nahi Tara Pravartan. If anybody is able to get people to chant Hare Krishna, we must understand this person is very special. This person is empowered, because without Krishna's empowerment, we cannot make people into devotees. We cannot get them to chant Hare Krishna. It is Krishna's empowerment. This is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Krishna Shakti Bina Nahi Tara Pravartan. Anyone who is pushing forward the Hare Krishna Sankirtan movement, congregational chanting of the holy name, is empowered by Krishna. And no one in the history of this planet, I repeat, no one in the history of this planet has done it like Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. Who has gone to all the continents and preached to such people who knew nothing about Krishna? Srila Prabhupada did this out of his own because he used to chant so many rounds at Radha Damodar temple. The Goswamis there say that he used to chant 3 lakh names on certain days, but at least 64. He would hardly sleep, do so much seva, and he was absorbed in Srimad Bhagavatam. And he was doing Mathuravas, and he was engaging in the service of Radha Damodar also. So he was doing all 4 limbs, our Acharya, Srila Prabhupada, and he was associating with very advanced devotees in Vrindavan, like his god brother, Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, and Srila Akinchan Krishnadas Babaji Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. These were his beloved god brothers who were very dear to him. And he was associating with them. Srila Narayan Maharaj. So Srila Prabhupada, as an Acharya, he's teaching us, he's practicing all the 5 limbs of bhakti. Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Sadhu Sangha, Nama Kirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathura Vasa, Shri Murtira Shraddhaya Sevan. Srila Prabhupada did all these 5 things. So it was his personal purity, his empowerment, because he is Nityananda Prabhu Shakti Avesh. Srila Prabhupada could do this. That is one. But the second reason is Srila Prabhupada established a very military-like, strict, focused morning program. Hare Krishna. Everyone lived in the temple in those days, which means everyone every day attended Mangal Aarti. Here in the ISKCON Atlanta temple, they were telling us that when Srila Prabhupada was there, 4:30 used to be the Mangal Aarti. At 4:30 a.m., the doors of the temple would be shut. So if anybody is late, you cannot enter the temple hall, which means everybody was there. So everyone chanted Guru Ashtakam prayers, Samsara Dava. Everyone chanted Shikshashtakam prayers. Everyone sang Tulsi Aarti. Everyone circumambulated Tulsi Maharani, which means all their sins are gone. Yani kani chapapani brahma tadikani tani tani pranashanti pradakshina pade pade. Everyone chanted 16 rounds sitting down in one place in front of Tulsi Maharani, in front of the deities, in the association of devotees, every single morning during Brahma Muhurta. Every single devotee did this. Everyone heard a live Bhagavatam class every day. Everyone did Nam Sankirtan, which is the most powerful. Tara Madhya Sarvashresht Nam Sankirtan Nirapradhe Nama Lele Pave Premad. Mahaprabhu says of the 9 limbs of bhakti, the most powerful, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Pada Sevanam, the most powerful is Nam Sankirtan. Every devotee started their day with Nam Sankirtan, because after Samsara Dava, we do 15-20 minutes of Hare Krishna Mahamantra Sankirtan. After Tulsi Aarti, 5-10 minutes of Hare Krishna Mahamantra Nam Sankirtan. And then Guru Aarti, half an hour of Harinam Sankirtan. Narsimha Aarti is only Nam Sankirtan. Namaste Narasimhaya Prahalad Alad Daine Hiranya Kashipu Vakshaha Shilatankha Nakhala hai. Ito Narsimha, Parato Narsimha, Yato Yata Viduta Narsimha, Baher Narsimha, Hriday Narsimha. It's only names of Lord Narsimha Dev. So it was Nam Sankirtan practically all day. Then the devotees after Bhagavatam class would eat first class Krishna Prasad offered to the deities. who had been duly established by Srila Prabhupada, Prana Pratisthapana. They're eating the top class Krishna Prasad. Then these devotees are going on the streets and doing Nam Sankirtan. Practically all day they're chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra loudly, 16 rounds in the morning, and loudly Nam Sankirtan. Practically all day, and distributing Prabhupada's books and preaching, and coming back in the evening and hearing a Bhagavad Gita class. Bhagavatam class in the morning, Bhagavad Gita class in the evening. And then Prabhupada said Tulsi Arti 2 times a day. They would do Tulsi Arti in the evening again. And they would do Gaura Arti in the evening again. And Narsimha Arti in the evening again. And then they would have their prasadam. While honoring prasadam, Krishna book reading was compulsory. And then in the temple hall, in the association of devotees, you are lying down and taking rest. And again you are waking up with everyone. Can you imagine this type of military discipline, this type of strong Krishna consciousness? It is because of this that Krishna consciousness spread to 108 temples in 11 years. Everyone lived in the temple. Everyone was doing sadhu sangha. Everyone was living in the association of devotees. Can you imagine this lifestyle? Flavier Mataji, can you imagine living in the temple? Barsana Chitra Mataji, Radhika Mataji, Gaur Chandra Prabhu, Mukta Sangha Prabhu, Parima Mataji, Vrinda Gopika Mataji. Nobody lived at home. Everyone lived in the temple in those days. That's why there was such high level of purity, such high level of enthusiasm. And there was a Hare Krishna explosion. Hare Krishna. But now see what the situation is. Now 99% of ISKCON devotees live in the community at home. They live in the community at home. No, nobody lives in a temple except few brahmacharis. And this is all over the world. It is not an exaggeration. I repeat, 99% or more of ISKCON devotees live at home today. And this is how it should be. This is how Srila Prabhupada wanted it eventually. But now, where is the morning program? Where is the waking up at 4 o'clock and starting your bhajan at 4:30? Where is the daily Bhagavatam class? Where is the daily Bhagavad Gita class? Where is the daily Gaur Arti? Where is the daily Tulsi Arti, Shikshashtakam prayers, Narsimha Arti, DT worship, book distribution, Nam Sankirtan in the streets every day, all day? No other engagement. Because those devotees had given up their family, given up their jobs, and they were doing this. That's how the Lakshmi was coming for building new temples, from book distribution and Nam Sankirtan. So, my dear friends, the reason I'm mentioning all this is we must design a daily sadhana chart for each and every one of us. Let us do this tonight, because it is Adivas. Tomorrow is Gaur Purnima, and let us start fresh from tomorrow, all of us. Let us incorporate the teachings of Srila Prabhupada in our everyday life. Doesn't matter whether we work or whether we are retired. Doesn't matter whether we are 20 years old or we are 60 years old. We must have the attitude that I want to become a pure devotee. Once Srila Prabhupada was asked, Srila Prabhupada, how can we please you? Prabhupada said, if you love Krishna. Which means if we get Krishna prem, Srila Prabhupada will be happy. Which means if we become pure devotees, Srila Prabhupada will be happy with us. And we cannot become pure devotees if we don't have a strong sadhana. So let us design our sadhana. I will do these many artis every day. I will do so many minutes or hours of DT worship every day. Come what may. So many hours of chanting. Minimum is 2 hours every day. But we must chant more. We must chant more. Tomorrow is Gaur Purnima. Let's take a vrat of increasing our rounds and chanting them with absorption. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Every day Bhagavatam class. Every day hearing from pure devotees. Hearing from devotees, sincere devotees. This is very important, my dear friends. Please let us design a personal sadhana chart for each and every one of us, for every day. And we should not share it with anybody. We should keep it private, just between you and Srila Prabhupada and Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Just between you and Guru Gauranga. Do not share it with anybody. Because then there can be problems, disturbance in one's bhajan. Narottam Das Thakur writes in this book, Prem Bhakti Chandrika, I was reading. He says, Apanera bhajan katha na kohibe yatha tatha. Don't speak about your bhajan here and there. Don't share. Only we may share it with our Guru Dev or with our spiritual superiors who are guiding us in our bhajan. But otherwise, we should not speak about our bhajan to anybody. Apanera bhajana katha na kohibe yatha tatha. Right? You can note this down. This is from Prema Bhakti Chandrika of Srila Narottam Das Thakur. He says towards the end of this book, Apanero bhajana katha na kohibe yatha tatha. We have to be very savdhan. We have to be very careful in this regard. But let us design a nice sadhana. So we must do this 5 limbs. Sadhu Sangha through YouTube and ISKCON Desire Tree every day, hearing from pure devotees, Srimad Bhagavatam. Or on different forums where advanced devotees are speaking, through Zoom or whatever. Then we must chant very attentively, very nicely, and keep increasing our rounds. We should at least increase 1 round every year of our life. So by the time we are 64 years old, we are chanting 64 rounds. But this is a bare minimum. Bare minimum. So if we are 40 years old, we cannot chant less than 40 rounds. If we are 50 years old, we cannot chant less than 50 rounds. How is it possible to make spiritual advancement if we don't increase our Nam Bhajan? Srila Prabhupada said 99% of our spiritual advancement is from Nam Bhajan. If we are 25, 30 years old, we must chant that many rounds. This is not an option, it is compulsory. There is no choice. We have to chant more. And in addition, the holy name is so sweet that we should take a vrat today on the Adivas that I will not waste a single moment. And constantly I will chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna. I try to keep reminding myself. I'm walking in the parking lot. I park my car in the hospital. I'm walking to the hospital. The holy name must be. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is our life and soul. We must keep chanting. One of my very good acquaintances in the hospital, he was one of the attendings in the emergency room. He parked his car. He was crossing the street and going to the emergency room. And he was on his phone. I will not tell you which city or which hospital this is. This is not in Atlanta. He was doing like this on his phone. He was crossing the road and a car hit him. And he was in the ICU for so many days, practically 2 weeks he was in the ICU, and then he passed away. Because death can come at any time. So why should we not chant when we are walking, when we are crossing the street, when we are parking the car, when we are taking a shower? Prabhus and Matajis. Hare Krishna Mahamantra has been given to us by Srila Prabhupada, has been given to us by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We will see later on in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Mahaprabhu will say there are no rules and regulations. Japite, japite. Keep chanting this Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Mahaprabhu will say. So let us get married to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We are married to Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is our pati. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is our husband. Hare Krishna Mahamantra is everything for us. We are married to the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We want to become mad after Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Everything is there in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Half the mantra is Krishna, half the mantra is Radharani. Hare is Radharani, calling out to Radharani. Calling out how? Like a child, Prabhupada said. Like a child who is lost. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna is Radha Krishna, Hare Ram is Radha Raman. We have to call them so that we get Krishna Prem. We have to get Krishna Prem in this lifetime. This lifetime. So we have to become very serious. So chanting the holy name constantly. There is a story I would like to tell you, my dear friends. Please listen to this story very attentively and please try to understand the story with your heart. Please try to understand the story with your heart. This is many years ago in India. In those days, there was corporal punishment in school. I have been slapped by my teacher so many times in school. In those days, there was corporal punishment. Physically, they used to beat. The teachers would beat the children in school. I think now there is no corporal punishment in India anymore. And of course, in the Western world, it is not there. But in schools, if you did not do your homework or you misbehaved, the teachers would beat physically. Either with a ruler, they would hit you or they would slap. So this is called corporal punishment. So there was, this is many years ago, I think in the 1950s or 60s, there was a boy in a village in India. And in one classroom, there used to be, in America, we have 20, 25 kids. In India, 60, 70 kids, depending which school you go to. So there are a lot of kids. And one child had brought the school fees to pay to the school. And he had kept it in his bag, school bag, book bag. And he thought, after school, I will go to the office and pay my school fees, annual school fees. And that money got stolen from his bag. Hare Krishna. Now, these are 14, 15-year-old kids, maybe ninth grade, 10th grade. So the money got stolen. So when he came back from recess, he realized that the money is stolen. So he immediately told the homeroom teacher that the money is stolen from my book bag. So the teacher, he immediately closed the door. He said, no child will leave. Everybody stand up, come on. And tell me who has stolen. Nobody spoke anything. Then he asked the student, when do you think it was stolen? He said, I think it got stolen in the recess when we had all gone out. Now there was one boy who had not gone out in the recess. He used to usually spend his time in the classroom only. He would not go for recess. So everybody knew that this boy stays in the classroom during recess. So the teacher went to that boy. He said, you have stolen it. I know, because you were the only person in the recess in the classroom. Give me the money back. Come on, return the money, you thief. So this boy was just standing. The teacher asked him, tell me, honestly, did you steal the money? And this boy looked at the teacher and very humbly, very clearly, very politely, he said, no, sir, I have not stolen. So then he looked here and there, the teacher looked here and there, and everybody was saying, yeah, he only must have stolen. So the teacher gave him one tight slap. Tell me the truth. I know you have stolen. Own up. Be honest. Give the money back. The student looked down, did not say anything. The teacher now, he was convinced that he is keeping quiet. He is keeping quiet means he is guilty. So he started slapping him. Started slapping him. Many times he slapped that boy. Both his cheeks were swollen and red. He was being slapped. And he was not saying anything, he was just looking down. And the teacher would not stop slapping him until he gave the money back. Finally, one boy stood up and he said, stop, sir, please stop. Don't hit. I cannot see him being beaten so badly. Here, this is the money. I am the thief. I had stolen it. The teacher was surprised. He looked at the student who he was slapping. He said, I'm slapping you. Why you are not objecting? Why you are not saying that don't slap me, I am not the thief? Why? Why were you silent? The boy was still looking down. The teacher said, tell me why you did not speak up for yourself when I was slapping you so many times. The boy looked up at his teacher and spoke one sentence. He said, sir, I have told you once, I am not the thief. That's it. That's enough. If you don't believe me, then what can I do? If I keep protesting and keep speaking in my defense, I will lose the holy name, because I am doing Nirantar Chintan. I am doing constant meditation on the holy name. So please don't disturb. This is a 14-year-old boy. He told his teacher, Naam chhoot jayega. I will lose the name if I speak too much. So once you asked me, once I told you, I am not the thief. That's why I don't even go out in the recess. I stay here, I eat prasad, and I'm chanting. And I'm chanting 24 hours a day. So if I speak too much, get too much involved in materialistic, mundane talk, I will lose the name. Naam chhoot jayega, he said. And this boy later on became a very great sadhu in Vrindavan. He left everything and he went to Vrindavan and he became a very, very great self-realized sadhu. This is what we are talking about. Constantly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We chant on our mala, yes. That is Sankhya Purvaka Naam. We have given a commitment and we chant. Whether it is 16 rounds, 32 rounds, 48 rounds, 64 rounds, whatever we have decided for ourselves. But more than that, we should constantly keep chanting. Never waste time and never get too much in mundane talk. It simply distracts us from Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. So in this way, we should do Naam Kirtan. We should worship the deity nicely. We should hear Srimad Bhagavatam daily and Mathura Vas. How do we do Mathura Vas? Wherever there is Vrinda Devi, wherever there is Tulsi plant, that is Vrindavan. So all of us must take a vrat that we will worship Tulsi Maharani and we will have Tulsi plant in our house. If you have a Tulsi plant in your house, you are in Vrindavan. If you have Gaurnita in your house, you are in Vrindavan, because Advaita Acharya says in Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat, we will come to that later on. Wherever you are, that is Vrindavan. Wherever Mahaprabhu is, because Mahaprabhu is Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikritir Ladhini Shaktir Asmat Ekatmanam Abhibhuva Pura Deha Bhedam Gatautau Chaitanyakyam Prakatam Adhuna Tadvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. He is Radha and Krishna Ekatmanav. He has come as in one form, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, with Radha Bhava. So wherever there is Radha Krishna, Vrindavana Parityajya Padam Ekam Na Gacchati. They never leave Vrindavan. So Mahaprabhu is there, that is Vrindavan. Vrinda Devi is there, that is Vrindavan. There is a very touching story, my dear friends. When Aurangzeb attacked Vrindavan, all the deities of Vrindavan, except Radharaman and one more deity, were taken out of Vrindavan. Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Govinda Dev, Radha Gopinath, they were all taken away because they were big deities. And Aurangzeb had given orders that all the deities should be broken, destroyed, desecrated, and temples should be also damaged, broken, destroyed. So Radharaman is very small, so he was hidden. They were able to protect him. But the other big deities, they had to be taken to Jaipur under the protection of the powerful Hindu Kshatriya kings there. But in addition to Radharaman, there is one more deity which never left Vrindavan. Does anyone know which deity that is? That is Vrinda Devi, the deity of Vrinda Devi. Vrinda Devi herself came to Rupa Goswami, and Rupa Goswami established not only Radha Govinda Dev, but also Vrinda Devi. So Vrinda Devi was there in Vrindavan, and when she was being taken away out of Vrindavan, out of fear of Aurangzeb and his soldiers in a bullock cart, the bullock cart got stuck and the bullock cart would not move. Many people, devotees came, they tried to extricate the wheels of the bullock cart from the mud, but the bullock cart would not move. Then Vrinda Devi spoke to the devotees who were taking her out of Vrindavan to protect her. They said, please do not take me outside Vrindavan, because I am Vrinda Devi. This is my one. This is my Vrindavan. If Vrinda Devi goes out of Vrindavan, then it is not Vrindavan. Vrindavan will not remain Vrindavan. What will the devotees think, that Vrinda Devi has left Vrindavan? She said, no, don't take me out of Vrindavan. So then she was brought back to Vrindavan. So Radharamanji and Vrinda Devi, they remained in Vrindavan. So if we have Vrinda Devi, if we have Tulsi Maharani, if we have a Tulsi plant, Tvam kirtyase satvatatantra vidbhir Leela bhidana kila Krishna shakti Tavaeva murti stulasi nriloke Vrinde namaste charanarvindam. Tavaeva murtis tulasi nriloke Vrinde namaste charanarvindam. That Vrinda Devi's form, Tavaeva murti, her manifestation, her murti in Nriloke, in the mortal world, in this earth planet, the world of Naras, the world of Nrilok, the world of mortals like us, is what? Tulasi. Tulasi Nriloke. Tavaeva murtis Tulasi Nriloke Vrinde namaste charanarvindam. Which means Vrinda Devi, the Gopi, who was married to Krishna by Srimati Radharani, who is the Leela Shakti of Krishna, who is glorified in all the Satvada Tantras, all the Vedic scriptures. That Vrinda Devi is present in the Nrilok, in this material world, in the form of Tulsi plant. Tulsi plant is a manifestation of Vrinda Devi, Vrinda Sakhi. So if you have Tulsi plant in your house, you are doing Mathuravas. If you have Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Krishna in your home, you are in Vrindavan. You are in Vrindavan. You are doing Vrindavan Vas. So please have Gaurnita, please have Tulsi Maharani in your home. So then the fourth limb of Bhakti, the fifth limb of Bhakti also is done out of 5. So Sripad Ayendra Prabhu went to Vrindavan and he decided, I want to do these 5 things in Vrindavan. I will stay in Vrindavan, I will worship Radha Shyam Sundar, I will do Nam Sankirtan, I will establish 24-hour Hare Krishna Mahamantra Sankirtan team in Vrindavan, in Krishna Balram Mandir, to fulfill Srila Prabhupada's dream. I will associate with devotees in Vrindavan. So many of my god brothers are here. I will associate with them. So many devotees are there, and in this way, I will perfect my life. So he decided never to leave Vrindavan. In I think in the year 2003 or 2004, there was a Kirtan festival. In 2004 or 2005, there was a Kirtan festival. After the Panchatattva were established in Navadvip, I think it was 2004 they were established, our big Panchatattva deities in Navadvip Dham. After that, there was a Kirtan festival there. So Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he called up Ayendra Prabhu. Jayapataka Maharaj is in Mayapur, Ayendra Prabhu is in Vrindavan. He called up Ayendra Prabhu and said, please come and we are having a Kirtan Mela, and you have given your life for Kirtan, Sankirtan. So please come. We will be very honored if you come and attend this Kirtan festival and lead a Kirtan. So Srimad Ayendra Prabhu said, oh, I'd never leave Vrindavan. I came here in 1985. I have never left Vrindavan in last 20 years. And I will never, I don't have any intention of leaving Vrindavan. In fact, my American passport, I tore it up and threw it in the Yamuna. So I will never leave Vrindavan. So Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj said to his beloved god brother, Ayendra Prabhu, that Ayendra Prabhu, Mayapur is not different from Vrindavan. So please come. So Srimad Ayendra Prabhu told in a joking way to his beloved god brother, Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, that Maharaj, you are saying that Mayapur is non-different from Vrindavan, but I am already in Vrindavan. So why should I come to something that is non-different? I am in the original Vrindavan. Mayapur is non-different from Vrindavan, but I am in Vrindavan. So why should I leave Vrindavan? I will not come. Then Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj chuckled. Now, these are loving exchanges between two god brothers. Srila Jayapataka Swami Maharaj chuckled and he said, but Ayendra Prabhu, we have Panchatattva here. You don't have Panchatattva in Vrindavan. So Srimad Ayendra Prabhu said, I'm coming. And he went. And then every year he went for the Kirtan Mela. So I don't know how we got into this story, but it is time. It is already 8:30. Sorry, I deviated today from what I wanted to say, but please forgive me. But tomorrow is Gaur Purnima. So the take-home message is, let us be very, very serious and focused on our sadhana. We have to attain Radha and Krishna in this life. We have to please Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada wants us to become a pure devotee. And if we are doing prajalpa, if we are talking about this devotee, this gossip, that gossip, it is guaranteed we will not get Krishna in this lifetime. So we have to control our speech. Vacho Vegam. Always chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Doing Vaishnava Seva, but not doing mundane gossip. Creating a very strict sadhana for all of us. And practicing it very nicely. Consisting of these 5 limbs. We discussed how we can practice these 5 limbs wherever we are. And of course, when we get an opportunity in Kartik or Purushottam, we should go to Vrindavan Dham. So with this, I will stop. Shri Chaitanya Bhagavad ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Gaur Purnima Mahamahotsav ki jai. Tomorrow is Gaur Purnima. I wish all of you a very happy Gaur Purnima. And I hope that you all take very nice, strict resolutions for your future life, for starting from tomorrow morning. Sleep early tonight so you can wake up early tomorrow morning. And I wish you the very best in your spiritual life. And may all of you make tremendous spiritual advancement. May the blessings of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga be upon all of you. But from our side, we have to become mad. We have to make all efforts so that we become mad chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. There is so much sweetness. Rupa Goswami says, when I chant Krishna, there is so much nectar. I desire millions of tongues, millions of ears. My heart, the holy name starts dancing in my heart. All my senses become numb, stunned in ecstasy. Nayanam galadashrudharaya, vadanam gadgadarudhaya gira, pulakayar nichitam bapu kada tava nama grahane bhavishyati. That should be our prayer. When will these ecstatic symptoms appear? When will I have the realization of the sweetness of the holy name that Rupa and Sanatan Goswami had, Raghunath Das Goswami had? You know, sometimes we say that, oh, I chanted 80 rounds or I chanted 128 rounds on this Ekadashi. Sometimes devotees, or there are some devotees, they chant 192 rounds. You know, our Prayojan Acharya, Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, he never chanted more than 64 rounds. Why? Because he used to chant Hare Krishna and he used to fall in ecstasy, go into ecstasy. He would cry. He would start getting darshan of Krishna. He would faint in great ecstasy. In this way, he used to just somehow manage to chant 64 rounds because he was doing ecstatic chanting. So that is our prayer, that we want to become Krishna Premi. We want to assist our Guru Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada in their eternal service to Radha and Krishna. This is our aspiration. Nothing short of pure devotional service. So we have to become mad. We have to be extremely serious. No prajalpa, no bad association, and ananyas chintayanto mam. Constant meditation only on Radha and Krishna, nothing else. And the best way to do that is by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So with this, I will stop. If there is a question, we can take one or two questions.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful lecture.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna ji, Adi Gatadhar Prabhu, Koti Koti Dandavat Pranam. Thank you, Prabhuji. Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki jai. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. So Gaur Chandra Prabhu has one question. Gaur Chandra Prabhu, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you so much for a very nice class today. I'm really pleased that you deviated today from what you had to say, because it really helps, I'm sure, each and every one of us, and it's really preparing us from for tomorrow, Gaurav Purnima. Now, Prabhuji, I have one question. Like with your mercy, I'm able to get up early in the morning, and I'm just do my sadhana. Try to finish it by like say 7, sometimes it's 7:15, 7:20 by the time I finish and everything. Now I'm able to do it most of the days, say 5 days, but then sometimes I just like fall off, and then I'm able to finish it by say 8:30, sometimes maybe So how can I be consistent and all the 7 days, not just maybe like 5 days or 6 days? So how can I be like 7 days? Sometimes I just fall off, maybe for whatever reason, I don't know. So any tips on that, Prabhuji? How can I be consistent?
Yes, Prabhuji. Few things. One is we can take a vrat that I will finish my 16 rounds with good quality before 7 a.m. every single day. And that is just a rule we make for ourselves. Very strict rule. Just like we breathe, just like we brush our teeth, just like we eat, just like we bathe. This is a commitment that I will chant attentively at least 16 rounds before 7 a.m. every day. Because after 7 a.m. anything can happen. Office, some bad news, something. So I want to complete my rounds nicely first thing in the morning, because it is the most important thing for me. That is one. Secondly, you can have a Zoom call, because you are a Bhakti Vriksha leader. So with your Bhakti Vriksha, you can have a Zoom call like we do. And we start at 4:30. So 4:30 to 4:40, 10 minutes, we chant Samsara Dava, Shikshashtakam prayers, Vancha Kalpataru Bhascha, and 10 offenses against the holy name. Then 6:40 to 4:40, we do it in 10 minutes. 4:30 to 4:40. 4:40 to 6:40, we chant 2 hours. And then 4:40 to 7 o'clock, 20 minutes, we do Ashtakams. We chant different prayers. Like Shad Goswami Ashtakam, Vrinda Devi Ashtakam, Yamuna Ashtakam, Radhika Ashtakam, Gopi Geet, like that. So we chant. So this is the morning program, and then I chant my Gayatri and then do DT worship for 1 hour. Then Narsimha Arti, Tulsi Arti. While doing DT worship, I hear Bhagavatam class. And then I go to the office after that. So like that, you make a schedule for yourself, and this is the most important thing in your day. You will not compromise on it. Unless there is like a dire emergency, of course, so some crisis in the family, then of course you have to take care of that. But otherwise, there is no compromise on this. So 2 things I said. One is you make a vrat for yourself, make a rule for yourself that I have to do this before 7 a.m. Brahma Murta Japa. And secondly, you can have a Zoom call so that there is motivation. I keep my video on in that Zoom call. Why? Because then it's a commitment that I will not get up from my chair. If I keep my video off, then I may start walking after 1 hour. My back is hurt, so I'm going to walk and chant. Those things can happen. But if the video is on, all the devotees are watching, then you are sitting in one place. That's what I do for myself. So like that, you can make a rule that Zoom call, so devotees can come. So they will also benefit, you will also benefit by coming on a Zoom call every day for that japa session. Zoom call or Skype call or whatever, WhatsApp call, you can see. So two things, making a rule for oneself and doing a Zoom call so that it's compulsory. Okay? Is that okay, Prabhu?
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So last question, Devahuti Mataji. I think Devahuti Mataji had raised her hand. Maybe she left. Devahuti Mataji, you have a question?
Yes, sorry, Prabhuji, I got disconnected. I have to rejoin again. Sorry,
Oh, no,
Prabhuji, for that.
no.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. The lecture was so much inspiring. Thank you so much for that, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question about the worshipping like Tulsi Aarti. So like as Prabhupada said, we should do the Tulsi Aarti morning and evening too. So the morning we always like, as we can do it, but in the evening, so if someday we miss that, so is that, can you guide on that, Prabhu? So
Mataji, I am doing it only once. I do it in the morning, Tulsi Aarti.
okay.
Yeah, Prabhupada said he
Huh.
instituted twice a day, but for me, evenings I'm not able to do. So I do it only once a day. So that is the standard for myself, minimum, that once a day. I do it in the morning before leaving home. But if someone has time, someone can do it twice a day. That's very nice, because Tulsi Aarti is the most beautiful prayer, because it's a direct prayer for Manjari Bhav, Tulsi Aarti. Directly you are praying that you want to become a maid servant of the maid servants of Srimati Radharani. So it's really a very direct, very sweet, very beautiful prayer, and you are praying directly to Vrinda Devi, who awards that Swarup to all of us. It is said that Ananga Manjari, who is a manifestation of Balramji, the younger sister of Srimati Radharani, and Vrinda Devi. These two personalities, Vrinda Devi and Ananga Manjari, they award us our service in Golok Vrindavan. When we get our eternal form in the spiritual world, they tell us what is our name, what is our seva, what, everything they allot to us. So therefore, Tulsi, we must worship Tulsi Devi. So if you can do it twice a day, that's very good. I am doing it only once a day, but yeah, you can do it twice a day also. It's very nice. And singing Tulsi Aarti is such a beautiful prayer, such a beautiful prayer. So Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. So if there are no more questions, then we can end. Thank you very much, dear devotees. We'll see you next Saturday.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
So much,
Thank you.
Prabhuji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.